Dear students, let us start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is January 18th, 2016. Hope you enjoyed your Pongal. And now, the very first article is related to the secularism in India. Now, the Indian secularism is very much different from the Western secularism. Here, the religion and state, they are not separated into watertight compartments. The state can interfere with the matters of the religion to uphold the greater constitutional values such as equality. So in this context, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar has clarified India's stand in the Constitution Assembly. What he said is this: the state and religious, they are two entities that have to work closely with each other. In this case, a minimalist definition of the religion has to be taken up. The reason is, the religion covers every aspect of the human life in India from birth to death. So in this case, if they are being separated into watertight compartments, whatever the challenges the religion is posing to the society, they continue. And added to that, the constitution will get itself restricted to a minor space, and most of the law will be guided by the personal laws rather than the constitutional law. So in this case, to hold the greater good, the constitutional law has to take the primacy, and the greater values of equality, fraternity has to be taken up upper hand. So the Article 25 and 26 of the Constitution were made in this perspective. Article 25 provides for the freedom of conscience, freedom to profess, practice and propagate a religion, but with certain caveats or reasonable restrictions. These can be restricted for public order, morality and health grounds. And added to that, any action, either economic, financial, political or other secular activity which are associated with the religious practices can be regulated by the state. And state also can provide for access to the temples, social welfare, etc. For this purpose, it can use the restrictions or it can regulate the religion. So, it means the Constitution provides the authority to the state to regulate the religious affairs. Now, in this context, who comes under the religion or under the state, who has to take up this particular reasonable restrictions? Either it is judiciary, executive or legislature. Now, before independence, if we observe, most of the socio-religious reforms in India were undertaken by the religious reformers through social revolution. If you take Narayana Guru, Raja Ram Mohan Rai, so most of the reform has started in the society and then it was evolved. If you take about Widow Remarriage Act or Sarada Act, etc., which have been brought through a legal measure by the state, there was social reaction to it. It means a change or a reform that occurs to the society will live for long, and the societal absorption for that particular reform will be much stronger. So among the state, the judiciary is taking up this exercise of religious reform. And judiciary, being a credible organization, or judiciary enjoys the greater credibility with the people. So the judicial scope or judicial reach is increasing with regard to religion is concerned. It is good on one side. On the other side, it is also restricting the social reform in the country. So in this context, the reform of the religion and the society shall be left to the society itself. That's how the India has acted in the past, and the same thing for better if it continues now. And the next is nuclear deal. So if you remember the Iran nuclear deal, just 2 minutes, if you take a recollection of this, the major points are the centrifuges which are there with the Iran, they have to be reduced by more than 2/3, and enrichment will be confining only to the Natanz. And then the Fordo nuclear facility or enrichment facility will be converted into a research facility. and total 10 metric ton, a million tons of, I don't know, 10 metric tons. So stockpile of the uranium, it has to be reduced to 300 kg, and they are enriched below 3.6%, and the remaining all nuclear fuel has to be shipped out. It means it is a drastic reduction of the total nuclear uranium which is available with the Iran. And this agreement will be in force for 10 years. But IAS verification will be in force for another 5 years. The total centrifuges, restrictions on designs, they will continue for another 20 years. And the restrictions on uranium mining and milling, they will continue for another 25 years. So for this, United States and other countries will remove the restrictions on finances, banking, insurance, trading, etc. on the Iran. Now if you see, in line with this, Iran has redesigned the Arak nuclear reactor, so reduced the stock of low enriched uranium, disconnected the centrifuges at the Fordow facility, and then deactivated more than 2/3 of its centrifuges. So it means Iran stood to its deadlines. So in line with this, the international community has removed the sanctions against the Iran. What is in this for India? If you see, the more Iranian oil is going to come into the open market, it will decrease the prices of the crude further. Second, the Chabahar port will provide greater access to Iran, Afghanistan, from there to Central Asia too. And the construction and investment opportunities will increase in Iran, and our exports to Iran also are bound to increase. These are the advantages. Iran, Pakistan, India pipeline can become a reality now. Now, what are the challenges to this? Understand, the other allies of USA, that is UAE and Saudi Arabia, they are the staunch opponents of the Iran. So they are not in a position to buy this nuclear deal and normalization of the relationships. United States has clarified that it is not to the level of a relationship status now. It is just taking away the nuclear bomb from Iran. And Iran will continue as a state sponsoring the terrorism in the US watch list. And also US will keep its eye on the Iran ballistic missile program. In that way, it is trying to reassure its allies in the in the West Asia, that is Middle East. So next is, coming to the double game of the Turkey, the Kurds are the minorities. Erdogan's government is very critical of these Kurds. And in this, Kurdistan Workers' Party, it is cited as infiltrators or insurgents demanding for an autonomous Kurdistan. So which is a pain to Mr. Erdogan. So in the southeast Turkey, where they are dominant, already a strife or a civil war is going on. But with regard to Syria is concerned, he opposes the Assad regime. But the Kurds, they formed a staunch fighters against the Islamic State. So there are accusations on the Turkey that its open borders is responsible for the growth of the strength of the Islamic State, and also providing for an opportunity to trade the Syrian oil under the Islamic State's control. And second is, the Kurds who are fighting against the Islamic State, they are not supported by the Turkey, but they are attacked by the Turkey. US, an ally of Turkey, is actually providing an air cover to the Kurds fighting the Islamic State. So actually the Erdogan's plan is, when the Arab Spring is active, he believed that the situation is changing in the world. He wants to control the entire or grow as a power in the West Asia. So in this context, immediately encouraged the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt and also in Tunisia and after in Libya. But many places its experiment is short-lived. So in this context, one way the Islamic State's terrorism has increased on the Turkey, and at the same time, the Turkey's opposition to the forces against the Islamic State, so it is decreasing. So he is caught in between these two. This is what is the dangerous game over here. Startup policy in India. I am working on this startup policy, but however, let us know the factual points related to this. So the 10,000 crore rupees is promised over 4 years for financing the startups in the country. And tax and labor inspection laws, they will be freed for startups for the first 3 years. So added to that, the finances are the startups which are eligible for these benefits. These are mostly technology related, and they shall be set up in the last 5 years with turnover less than 25 crores per annum, and they shall be working towards innovation and commercialization of their technology. Here, technology and commercialization, they matter the most. These are the two vague terms how they will be defined that defines the impact of this law. And the second thing is, now too much of money, if it is chasing too less the ideas, then it can create a bubble of the startup, which has happened in the United States. The government shall take this particular caution. Next is flexi fuels policy. The flexi fuels can be defined as the petroleum and other products which are blended with green fuels such as ethanol. So the major issues are the automobile industry has to reform itself to bring in this technology. And the second is the sugarcane industry will provide for or will get a new consumer which can divert the resources or the sugarcane surplus production. But the challenges are this: if the area under the sugarcane increases, automatically it's going to consume more water resources. And the domestic car manufacturers do not have the production capability which can take the ethanol as a fuel which has greater oxidizing properties. And finally, it is said to be a clean fuel. Ethanol is said to be a clean fuel. To what extent consumers buy it is the major question. And India to ease the visa norms for China. Now, already visa on arrival or electronic tourist visa on arrival is given to the Chinese. But the bulk visas are being not offered as of now. China is demanding for grant of research visas for the Chinese. So Indian government is actually considering this. Next is, with regard to the terrorism as a subject of discussion between India and Pakistan, India has repeatedly changed its a terror list or watch list of the terrorists who are most wanted. Initially, it was the Sikh terrorists, Mr. Lakhbir Singh Rodhe, Gajendra Singh. Later, it was shifted to Mr. Mansoor Azhar, and then Dawood Ibrahim, and then again it is towards the Hafiz Saeed. It appears there is no consistency in pursuit of the most wanted from Indian side with Pakistan. So this consistency is being recommended in this particular article. These are important for today. And again, if you have any issues with the civils prep, please send them an email at support@civilsprep.com. support@civilsprep.com. Please visit this website and see the ARC reports, etc., which are posted, and then you can go ahead with that. So support@civilsprep.com, you can visit this particular website. Thank you. This is the email ID. Thank you very much and all the best.